The most talked about asset in recent years, could it really replace the dollar and even gold? Could it potentially bring about the end of traditional banks? And what does it actually mean to own a Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a completely virtual currency, not controlled by any government, and it operates without the need for banks to manage accounts or verify transactions. This means no more account freezes, no drained balances, and no withdrawal limits imposed by financial institutions. But who invented this technology? Is it a gift from above? These questions linger unanswered, at least not entirely. So how does Bitcoin work? Let's start with a more relatable analogy. Imagine you and your friends regularly keep track of the payments you make to each other. This record functions as a common ledger where each transaction is documented. Initially, you trust your friends completely to accurately record these payments. However, over time, that trust may begin to wane. This is where cryptography steps in. If you're savvy enough to apply some basic cryptographic concepts, you can bypass the need to blindly trust others. This is the very foundation upon which the concept of cryptocurrency was built. Bitcoin was the pioneer in this field. Today, thousands of other virtual currencies are in circulation, all being traded for traditional currencies. The surge in popularity and interest in cryptocurrencies over the past few years is undeniable. It's as though a wave of enthusiasm and investment has swept through the market. Amidst all the excitement, however, it's crucial to understand what cryptocurrencies really are. Fortunately, you don't need to be an expert on every aspect if you just want to use Bitcoin. It's much like using a credit card. You don't need to know all the processes happening behind the scenes. Similarly, there are numerous intuitive apps that allow you to send and receive Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies without needing to think too much about how it all works. The big difference here is that at the core, there isn't a bank validating transactions. Instead, it's an intelligent, decentralized system rooted in cryptography and trust networks. What is the name of this technology? Blockchain. It's a distributed ledger technology that functions like a digital record book of transactions. Instead of being stored in a single centralized location, the blockchain is distributed across a network of computers, often referred to as nodes. Each block in the blockchain contains a record of transactions that have been validated and added to the network. The key features of blockchain are its immutability and transparency. Once a transaction is recorded in a block and added to the chain, it cannot be altered without the consensus of the majority of network participants. This makes blockchain highly secure against fraud and malicious alterations. Additionally, because blockchain is distributed across multiple nodes in the network, there is no single point of failure. This means that even if some nodes fail, the others will continue to maintain the record of all transactions. Blockchain technology is the backbone of many cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, but its applications extend far beyond that. It's being used across various sectors, such as finance, supply chain management, healthcare, and even by some governments to provide greater transparency, security, and efficiency in record-keeping and transactions. Now let's delve into the concept of digital records and signatures. Imagine you and your friends frequently exchange money, whether it's to split a lunch bill or cover other expenses. Constantly exchanging cash can get tiresome. So you come up with the idea of maintaining a shared ledger, like a giant online whiteboard where everyone can log the payments they intend to make in the future. For example, Samara pays $80 to Kayo pays $50 to Junior, and so on. This ledger is open to everyone, like a website where anyone can add a new entry. At the end of the month, everyone reviews the transactions and makes the necessary adjustments. If someone spent more than they received, they put money on the table. If they received more than they spent, they can take money off the table. The protocol for participating is simple. Anyone can add entries, and at the end of the month, it's time to settle up. But wait, what if someone tries to cheat the system? What's to stop Kayo from writing, Samara pays $100 to Kayo without her consent? How can we trust that all the transactions are legitimate? This is where the first part of cryptography comes into play: digital signatures. They function like handwritten signatures, except they're fraud-proof. The idea is that Samara should be able to add something to the transaction that proves she saw and approved it, and that would be impossible for anyone else to forge. At first glance, it might seem crazy after all. A computer can read and copy any data, so how do we prevent fraud? The magic lies in something called the public and private key pair. Each of us generates a pair of these keys, one secret or private key and one public. The private key is called so because it's meant to be kept secret, SK, while the public key, PK, is like our digital business card that we can share with the world. Many people wonder, is this technology really secure? Can it be trusted for day-to-day transactions like buying and selling goods? The answer lies in the robustness of the underlying cryptography and the decentralized nature of blockchain technology, which collectively ensure a level of security and trust that traditional systems often struggle to provide. Bitcoin's security is based on several elements that work together to protect the network and transactions. Here are some of the key aspects that contribute to Bitcoin's security. Cryptography is at the heart of Bitcoin's protocol, playing a fundamental role in securing transactions and safeguarding users' wallets. At its core, cryptography ensures that Bitcoin functions as a decentralized digital currency, free from the control of any central authority, yet secure enough to prevent fraud and unauthorized access. When we talk about cryptography in the context of Bitcoin, we primarily refer to two key concepts: public and private keys. These keys are essentially long strings of alphanumeric characters generated by complex algorithms. The private key is akin to a password that must be kept secret. It's what grants the user control over their Bitcoins. The public key, on the other hand, is derived from the private key and serves as the user's address on the Bitcoin network, allowing others to send Bitcoins to that address. The relationship between these keys is what enables Bitcoin's secure transactions. When a user initiates a transaction, they use their private key to sign it digitally. This signature acts as a unique identifier, verifying that the transaction indeed comes from the legitimate owner of the Bitcoins being spent. It's important to note that this digital signature is mathematically linked to both the transaction and the private key, making it virtually impossible to forge without access to the private key. This process not only ensures the authenticity of the transaction, but also its integrity. Once a transaction is signed and broadcast to the network, it is verified by other nodes, computers participating in the Bitcoin network using the corresponding public key. If the signature is valid, the transaction is approved and added to the blockchain, the public ledger that records all Bitcoin transactions. This verification process is crucial because it prevents malicious actors from altering the transaction data or attempting to spend Bitcoins they don't own. Another critical aspect of Bitcoin's cryptographic security is the prevention of double spending. Double spending is a potential flaw in digital currencies where the same unit of currency could be spent more than once. Bitcoin addresses this issue through its decentralized network of nodes and the blockchain. Each time a transaction is confirmed and added to the blockchain, it is timestamped and linked to the previous transaction. This chaining of blocks, hence the name blockchain, creates a chronological record that is immutable, meaning that once a transaction is confirmed, it cannot be altered or undone without redoing all subsequent transactions, which is computationally impractical. Moreover, the Bitcoin network employs a consensus mechanism known as proof of work, POW, to add new blocks to the blockchain. Miners who are participants in the network compete to solve complex mathematical puzzles, and the first to solve the puzzle gets to add the new block to the chain. This process not only validates the transactions within the block, but also requires a significant amount of computational power, further securing the network against attacks. In addition to securing transactions, cryptography is also integral to the protection of Bitcoin wallets. A Bitcoin wallet is essentially a collection of private keys, each corresponding to a certain amount of Bitcoins. If a private key is lost or stolen, the Bitcoins associated with it are effectively gone forever, as there is no central authority to recover them. This emphasizes the importance of securely storing private keys, often through hardware wallets, cold storage, or other encryption methods. The robust cryptographic foundations of Bitcoin have led to its widespread adoption and trust among users. Despite its complexity, the underlying cryptography works seamlessly in the background, allowing users to send and receive bitcoins without needing to understand the intricate details of the process. This user-friendly approach, combined with the security and privacy provided by cryptography, is one of the reasons why Bitcoin continues to be a leading cryptocurrency in the market. However, it's worth noting that while Bitcoin's cryptography is strong, it is not entirely immune to future technological advancements, such as quantum computing. Quantum computers have the potential to break traditional cryptographic methods by quickly solving the complex problems that secure digital signatures. While this threat is not immediate, the Bitcoin community is already exploring quantum-resistant cryptographic techniques to ensure the long-term security of the network. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, click the subscribe button. Cryptography is the backbone of Bitcoin, providing the security and trust that are essential for its operation as a decentralized digital currency. Through the use of private and public keys, digital signatures, and blockchain technology, Bitcoin ensures that transactions are secure, immutable, and free from fraud. As technology evolves, so too will the cryptographic methods used to protect Bitcoin, ensuring its place as a secure and reliable form of digital money for years to come. The concept of proof of work, POW, is at the heart of Bitcoin's security and functionality. It's a critical component of the consensus algorithm that ensures all participants in the Bitcoin network agree on the state of the blockchain, which is a distributed ledger recording all transactions. This process is essential for maintaining the integrity and trustworthiness of the Bitcoin network, preventing fraud and ensuring that all transactions are properly validated. At its core, proof of work is a mechanism that requires miners participants in the Bitcoin network who validate transactions and add them to the blockchain to solve complex computational problems. These problems are designed to be challenging and resource-intensive, requiring significant computational power and energy to solve. The process of solving these problems is often referred to as mining, and it involves finding a specific number called a nonce that, when combined with the data in the block and passed through a cryptographic hash function, produces a hash that meets the network's difficulty target. The cryptographic hash function used in Bitcoin is SHA-256, a function that takes an input or message and returns a fixed-size string of bytes. The output, known as the hash, is unique to the input. Even a small change in the input will produce a drastically different hash. In the context of Bitcoin, the input includes the contents of the block, the previous block's hash, and the nonce. The difficulty target is a number that the hash must be lower than for the block to be accepted by the network. The difficulty of this problem is adjusted approximately every 2 weeks to ensure that, on average, one block is added to the blockchain every 10 minutes. This adjustment is necessary because the total computational power of the network can change over time as more miners join or leave the network. If the network's computational power increases, the difficulty of the proof-of-work puzzle increases accordingly, and vice versa. Once a miner successfully solves the puzzle, they broadcast the block to the rest of the network. Other miners and nodes in the network then verify that the block's hash is correct and that the transactions within the block are valid. If everything checks out, the block is added to the blockchain, and the miner is rewarded with newly created bitcoins and transaction fees. This process of mining and proof of work serves several important purposes. First, it secures the network by making it extremely difficult for any individual or group to manipulate the blockchain. To alter a block that has already been added to the blockchain, an attacker would need to redo the proof of work for that block and all subsequent blocks, which would require an immense amount of computational power and energy, more than what the entire network could muster, making such an attack practically impossible. Second, proof of work helps to decentralize the Bitcoin network. Since mining requires significant computational resources, it is impractical for a single entity to control the majority of the network's mining power. This decentralization ensures that no single participant can dictate the state of the blockchain, further enhancing the network's security and resistance to censorship. Moreover, the energy-intensive nature of proof-of-work has sparked significant debate and innovation. Critics argue that the energy consumption of Bitcoin mining is unsustainable and environmentally harmful. In response, there has been a growing interest in alternative consensus mechanisms, such as proof-of-stake, POS, which are designed to be more energy efficient. However, proponents of Bitcoin's proof-of-work argue that its energy usage is justified by the security and decentralization it provides. They also point out that a significant portion of Bitcoin mining is powered by renewable energy sources, reducing its environmental impact. In addition to security, proof-of-work has economic implications. The rewards miners receive for validating transactions create a financial incentive for individuals to contribute computational power to the network. This incentive structure is crucial for maintaining the network's integrity, as it aligns the interests of miners with the overall health and security of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Over time, the block reward for mining Bitcoin decreases through a process called halving, which occurs approximately every 4 years. This halving event reduces the number of new Bitcoins created and distributed to miners by half, which in turn reduces the rate of new Bitcoin supply. This built-in scarcity is a key feature of Bitcoin's economic model, designed to mimic the scarcity of precious metals like gold. As the block reward decreases, transaction fees are expected to play a more significant role in compensating miners for their efforts. Currently, miners receive both the block reward and the fees associated with the transactions they include in the blocks they mine. In the long term, as the block reward approaches zero, transaction fees will become the primary source of income for miners, ensuring that the network continues to function and secure transactions. Proof-of-work is a fundamental component of Bitcoin's design, providing the security, decentralization, and incentive structures necessary for the network to operate effectively. Despite its energy-intensive nature, it has proven to be a robust mechanism for maintaining the integrity of the blockchain, making Bitcoin the most secure and widely used cryptocurrency in existence. As the Bitcoin network continues to evolve, the role of proof-of-work will remain a topic of discussion and innovation, shaping the future of decentralized finance and digital currencies. The concept of blockchain is one of the most groundbreaking innovations in the realm of digital technology, especially as it pertains to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. A blockchain is fundamentally a decentralized and distributed ledger that records transactions across a network of computers known as nodes. This distributed nature is a key characteristic that sets blockchain apart from traditional centralized databases, offering significant advantages in terms of security, transparency, and resistance to tampering. Decentralization and global distribution. The decentralized nature of Bitcoin's blockchain is perhaps its most defining feature. Unlike traditional financial systems that rely on a central authority, such as banks or governments, the Bitcoin network operates on a peer-to-peer basis. The blockchain is maintained by a vast network of nodes, which are individual computers distributed across the globe. Each node holds a copy of the entire blockchain, making it virtually impossible for any single entity to alter or manipulate the data. This global distribution of nodes ensures that the Bitcoin network does not have a single point of failure. In centralized systems, if the central server is compromised, the entire network can be brought down. In contrast, for the Bitcoin network to be compromised, an attacker would need to control more than 51% of the network's computational power, a feat that is not only extremely difficult, but also prohibitively expensive. This decentralized structure is a significant deterrent against cyber attacks and censorship, as there is no single target for attackers to focus on. Immutability and security. Another critical feature of the Bitcoin blockchain is its immutability. Once a transaction is confirmed and added to a block in the blockchain, it becomes an immutable record. This means that it is practically impossible to alter or delete the transaction without the consensus of the majority of the network's participants. The immutability of the blockchain is achieved through cryptographic hashing and the consensus mechanism known as proof of work, POW. When a new block is created, It contains a cryptographic hash of the previous block, along with a list of new transactions. This hash acts as a unique identifier, linking each block to its predecessor in a chain. If any transaction in a previous block were to be altered, the hash of that block would change, breaking the chain and alerting the entire network to the tampering. This makes it extremely difficult for anyone to alter past transactions, providing a high level of security against fraud and forgery. The process of adding new blocks to the blockchain is energy-intensive and requires significant computational power. This is by design, as it ensures that any attempt to rewrite the blockchain would require an enormous amount of resources, making such efforts economically unfeasible. Economic incentives and network security. The security and integrity of the Bitcoin network are further enhanced by a system of economic incentives for miners. Miners are participants in the network who validate transactions and add them to the blockchain by solving complex cryptographic puzzles. For their efforts, miners are rewarded with newly created bitcoins, block rewards, and transaction fees paid by users. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, click the subscribe button. These economic incentives are crucial for maintaining the decentralized nature of the network. By providing financial rewards to miners, the Bitcoin protocol ensures that there is a continuous supply of participants willing to invest computational resources in securing the network. This competition among miners to solve the cryptographic puzzles also makes the network more secure, as it increases the difficulty of any potential attacks. As the number of bitcoins that can be mined is finite, with a hard cap of 21 million, the block reward decreases over time in a process known as halving. This reduction in rewards is offset by transaction fees, which are expected to become the primary source of income for miners in the future. This transition is vital for the long-term sustainability of the Bitcoin network, ensuring that it remains secure even as the supply of new bitcoins dwindles. Regular updates and an active community. The security and efficiency of the Bitcoin network are also maintained through regular updates and the active participation of the community. The Bitcoin protocol is open source, meaning that anyone can contribute to its development. This has led to a vibrant community of developers and enthusiasts who continuously work on improving the network. One of the key aspects of this ongoing development is the implementation of software upgrades and patches. These updates address vulnerabilities, enhance performance, and introduce new features to the network. For example, Segregated Witness, SegWit, was a significant update that improved transaction processing efficiency and paved the way for further innovations like the Lightning Network, which enables faster and cheaper transactions. The decentralized nature of Bitcoin's development means that any proposed changes to the protocol must be agreed upon by a majority of the network's participants. This consensus-driven approach ensures that changes are made transparently and with the broader community's input, further enhancing the network's security and resilience. The future of Bitcoin and blockchain technology. As Bitcoin continues to grow in popularity and adoption, its blockchain technology is being explored for a wide range of applications beyond just digital currency. Industries such as finance, supply chain management, healthcare, and even governance are beginning to leverage blockchain for its transparency, security, and efficiency. In finance, for example, blockchain can enable faster and more secure cross-border transactions, reducing the need for intermediaries and lowering costs. In supply chain management, blockchain provides an immutable record of the journey of goods from manufacturer to consumer, improving traceability and reducing fraud. In healthcare, blockchain can ensure the secure sharing of patient data between providers while maintaining privacy and compliance with regulations. The ongoing development and innovation within the Bitcoin community will likely continue to drive the evolution of blockchain technology, unlocking new possibilities and addressing emerging challenges. As more industries and organizations recognize the potential of blockchain, we can expect to see even broader adoption and integration of this revolutionary technology in the years to come. While Bitcoin is widely regarded as a secure digital currency, it is crucial to remember that no technology is completely infallible. users must take additional steps to protect their wallets and practice proper cybersecurity measures when dealing with cryptocurrencies. This brings us to a deeper exploration of the security mechanisms underlying Bitcoin transactions, particularly the use of cryptographic keys. Imagine your private key as the most secure lock you've ever owned, something you would never share with anyone. In the physical world, your signature might look the same on any document you sign, but in the digital realm, a signature is far more robust because it changes with each message. This digital signature typically consists of a string of ones and zeros, forming a strong, complex code, often 256 bits long. To understand this better, consider that even altering a single bit in the message will completely change the associated signature. Technically speaking, creating a digital signature involves a function that depends on both the message and your private key, often referred to as SK. This private key acts as a seal of authenticity, ensuring that only you can legitimately sign a message. Meanwhile, your public key plays the role of an impartial judge, verifying whether the signature is valid. The public key's job is straightforward. It provides a binary verdict, true or false, indicating whether the signature corresponds to the private key associated with the public key being used for verification. It is impossible to produce a valid signature without possessing the corresponding private key. This means your digital signature serves as proof that you have seen and approved the message, all without revealing the content of the message itself. Now, let's apply this concept to a common payment system. Imagine Samara wants to add a new transaction to a shared ledger. She can write anything she wants, but before it is accepted, she must sign it with her private key. This process creates cryptographic proof that the transaction indeed came from Samara, and the ledger can confidently accept it, knowing that only she could have produced a valid signature. When the group reconvenes at the end of the month to review all transactions, they can verify all the signatures and rest assured that nothing has been falsified. In practice, there are several additional layers to this basic idea, such as protections against signature reuse or forgery through carefully chosen messages. However, the core idea of digital signatures remains. It's a way to prove that you have seen and approved a message without revealing its content. Imagine that the common ledger, once maintained by a select group, has evolved into something far more powerful: a distributed ledger. This isn't just a shared database. It's a network where every participant holds a complete and up-to-date copy. What makes this so revolutionary? Simply put, it eliminates the need to trust a single entity to keep the record honest. If something seems suspicious in your copy of the ledger, you can cross-check it with others. But to make this possible, the dynamics of the ledger need to change. In a typical system, anyone can add a transaction and settle the accounts at the end of the month. However, with everyone holding their own copy, this would lead to chaos. We need a method to select a version of the ledger that everyone agrees on. This is where proof of work, POW, comes into play, particularly in the Bitcoin world. The idea is simple. To add a transaction to the ledger, you must solve a computationally difficult challenge. Once solved, everyone can see that you've invested the necessary effort. In the context of Bitcoin, this challenge involves guessing a number called a nonce. This number is adjusted so that the SHA-256 hash of the resulting ledger starts with a certain number of zeros. Since the hash is unpredictable, the only way to find the nonce is through trial and error, trying different values until you hit the right one. Thus, to add a transaction, you need to solve a problem that requires significant computational power. This is proof of work in action. Attempting to forge a transaction would be akin to trying to overpower an army with a single soldier. Now, we have a system where we can exchange money without relying on a central authority. Every participant has their own copy of the ledger and can verify the legitimacy of transactions. No one can tamper with the system without a monumental computational effort. Of course, making this work in practice involves many intricate details, but the core idea is to replace central authority with a decentralized system grounded in mathematics. While the technology behind Bitcoin is robust, users must remember that the responsibility of security also lies with them. Safeguarding your private key is paramount. Losing it means losing access to your Bitcoins. This makes practices like using hardware wallets, enabling two-factor authentication, and regularly updating your software critical components of maintaining security. Awareness of phishing attacks and scams is important, as no level of cryptographic security can protect against human error. Keeping backups of your keys in secure locations and ensuring that you use trusted platforms for transactions are also essential steps in protecting your digital assets. Bitcoin's security is built on advanced cryptographic principles, with the private and public key system providing a robust mechanism for ensuring the integrity of transactions. The proof-of-work algorithm adds an additional layer of security by making it computationally expensive to alter the blockchain. However, the security of your Bitcoins ultimately depends on how well you protect your private key and follow best practices in cybersecurity. In the evolving world of digital currency, understanding these foundational elements is key to safely navigating and utilizing Bitcoin, empowering users to participate in this revolutionary financial system with confidence. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, click the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.